This is Duke iGEM. I'm Thomas. Um,
I'm Yoshi from the University of Washington iGEM team.
and I guess today we're going to talk a little bit about how we got into science and, like the different paths and how we got started and like the challenges that we face
hmm
getting started. So tell me about like your major and what you're studying at UW.
Yeah, so at UW, I am in the bioengineering major, and here we don't have a biomedical engineering and we don't have a biological engineering. They combine it together. And so our bioengineering major has people that are working on prosthetics, people working on stem cell technology, people working on genetic engineering, stuff like synthetic biology, all that are kind of mixed into one. And so it's an interesting major. The reason why I got into it is because um, I originally wanted to be pre-med. And so I thought that, something biology related would be really cool. I've always been interested in biology, and I'm also interested in tinkering with stuff too. So I thought, put it together, biology and engineering, so bioengineering. And that's sort of how I started bioengineering at UW.
Okay. Was there any challenges in like picking this field or applying to this program at UW?
Yeah, so that's really interesting because I'm actually a peer mentor for the College of Engineering, meaning that I help out other students who want to go into engineering. And for me, I have a slightly different course, I guess, in getting into bioengineering because I was directly admitted to the program. Usually it's very competitive. And I was admitted from high school because well, I've never heard the real reason of why I was directly admitted, but I think the real reason is because I was participating in college level research as a high schooler. So from junior year of high school, I actually was working at a biochemical plant science based lab here at UW while I was going to a school about an hour north of here. So at that lab, I was doing plant based remediation. And so I was able to get to the stage where I'm actually doing my own research and doing my own project by myself. And I use that experience to present at science fairs and competitions all around. And yeah, that's how I got into bioengineering. I think that in terms of difficulty, um, I think the hardest part about something like bioengineering or engineering in general is knowing what you're going into. So like um, as I explained, like bioengineering at UW is very, very broad. So some people don't know what it is. Some people don't know what's expected. And some people don't know what's the future ahead. Like once they get into this major, what are the jobs that they can apply to? What are the opportunities they can apply to? For example, iGEM. I didn't know about iGEM until the second year once I got here at UW. And the only reason I found out was because I thought genes were cool and I was looking around for different opportunities. And in my intro biology class, one of my friends introduced me to iGEM. And so, um, going back to the question, so I think the hardest part is just knowing what's ahead and why you would want to be in that major. Because if you are applying, the one thing that they really care about is what are you contributing to your major rather than why do you want to be in it. It's more like, why should we take you in? At least at UW. And so being able to explain really well what you want to do with the major, what kind of aptitude you have for the major, and then why they should have you in instead of 10 other people is a really hard point.
Okay. So you mentioned you did some research in high school.
Mhm.
What are some challenges of just like getting started like in
Oh
the
yeah,
first place?
that's a good point. So the way I got involved in research in high school is through us. That was actually itself a special program in high school, and I used to live in New York, and in New York, I lived in a county called Westchester County, and the schools there partner with the state university system in New York to lead this program called Science Research in the High School. And what it is starting sophomore year, students dedicate themselves to learning how to read literature, scientific literature, and then applying to actual university labs around New York to do actual research there, and then go to competitions and try to win them. And so I started doing that. I had to move to Washington State, and I decided I'm going to continue by myself, trying to apply to university. And it really, the hardest part is having the guts or having the kind of confidence to email a professor. As a high schooler, you feel like, I don't know anything. Why would any lab take a high schooler in, let alone an undergrad student? So that was the biggest challenge for me. And I got through that by really studying what the lab that I actually ended up going to. I really did a lot of research into what do they study and what is this field about. And then when I talked to the professor and reached out to her, I was able to show that I actually did my research even as a sophomore in high school. And that's why she said, yeah, sure, once you come to Washington State, you can join our lab. And even at the lab, I was able to show that I know certain things, and so they don't have to, always take care of me, I guess. And I think, yeah, does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, that answers the question.
Okay.
So, like, when you started the lab, you had to work with a bunch of undergrads and
Uh-huh.
grad students, and professors even.
Mhm.
So, how does that dynamic work as like a beginner in an environment full of masters?
Yeah, so yeah, definitely. Like, I remember the first week that I got into lab, I was told, make this reagent. And that might seem simple, but to a junior in high school, you're like, whoa, what do I do? And I remember messing up, right? Um, the professor was really nice because she's very, very willing to work with you. And she's one of the professors that really takes mentorship really seriously. And so I think I was lucky in that regard. And a lot of the staff, the lab techs there, and the graduate students were very accommodating and willing to answer any questions I came about. As for me, I think the what made the dynamic successful, if those types of people exist, like nice people, if you're lucky with that, then for yourself, it's it's again having the confidence to be able to ask. Like, it's scary to ask a question that might seem trivial because you think, oh, I'm gonna sound like an idiot. But it really starts from there. Unless you ask those questions, you don't really take ownership over your own research. And I find that that skill applies not just to research, but to